Good afternoon, everyone. The next panel discussion session is on sports and beyond, and I would like to welcome all the speakers for this session: Ms. Anjali Joneja, Amar VP and Country Head WO, Mr. Ramakrishna Subramaniam Ramki, Founder and CEO, Sports Mechanics India Private Limited, Mr. Deepak Joshi, CEO, Fando.com, Mr. Kingshuk Bhattacharya, Head Broadcast Operations and Network Engineering, Sony Pictures Networks India, Moderator, Mr. Ganesh Kaushik, Client Transformation Advisor. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome. This is a very interesting topic, and it is going to be even more interesting when Ramki starts talking about sports. And primarily, I want Ramki to enlighten us on how he collects data and how he analyzes the data. Then we will go to Anjali, who will help us in how these data can be visualized for a layman to understand that data. And then we will go to Kingshuk so that we can understand how the broadcasters look for data and how they use that data for their storytelling purpose. Joshi will talk about how the OTT platforms can enable the sports and the sporting bodies to make better money beyond YouTube. Ramki, how does the data get collected and what all the data gets used for?
Good afternoon, everyone. So, the data, it so happened that I joined the Indian cricket team. I was the first performance analyst for the Indian cricket team. And when I joined the team, I asked Saurav, what kind of team meetings happen. And Rahul and Saurav were there, and Rahul said, nothing, Ramki, we all assemble at the coach's room. And he used to order French fries and samosas those days, and it is banned today. And he said, and they will have tea, and last 5 minutes they'll say, tomorrow's an important game, Dil Se Khelo. So that was how it started. And can I ask Saurav, my first tour with the team was for the Australian tour. I asked him, do you have any intelligence in the opponent? And we were playing Australia, and do you have any intelligence? And he said, no. Then I said, how do you pass on the knowledge? And he said, no, we have played against them, and we'll do it in a qualitative way. So it got me thinking, and I said, can you get me some footage from ESPN? And so he came to Australia armed with 25 VHS tapes. Those days, it was only VHS tapes. So he got from ESPN 25 VHS tapes about Australian Ashes series. And my first week in Australia, I spent only in collecting that, digitizing that data and mining that data. I didn't see the outside world. I was locked in my hotel room, and that's how it started. But, we had a great start. We won the game in Australia after many years. So my entry into the Indian team became really successful after that. When the team wins, the dressing room is very different. So the data aided what we collected, what we extracted from the video, and how we mine that and provide opposition intelligence. And that was a start. And that was the first time where Indian team had something like that, where the first time, that was way back in 2003. So that's how it started. So we collect plenty of data around, and we realized that it's going to be an important factor in changing the results of the games. So how do we help in strategy and playbook? Only with the data. So we started collecting data in a very structured manner from then on. So we collect every match. Fortunately, in India, all the matches are being televised. So we collect all the videos, we record all the videos, and extract the data from it, and prepare the team and provide strategies and with the data. So from a qualitative to a quantitative, that's the shift we are trying to do. Even today, coaching is done with the naked eye and oral feedback, and it's qualitative. The selection process is qualitative. So how we are changing the whole system from a naked eye to a qualitative to a quantitative approach. So collecting data, converting that into intelligence, providing to the teams for their either for the competitive intelligence or for improving the operational efficiency for the administrators, or for engaging the fans in a very different way. The content is driven by data today.
I want to add a bit more here. Ramki collects around 35 data points for each and every ball that is
70, Ganesh.
70, sorry. 70 data points for each and every ball that has been played. And they've got almost around 18 years of data. Anjali, how do you think this the visualization will help people understand this data? Because not everybody understands data.
So, very rightly what you said, he collects about 70 data points. And I know that when you have a football match of 90 minutes, you collect close to 4,000 data points, right? So, it is said that the path to victory starts with data, right? From the coaches to players to dietitians to nutritionists to, commercial people who are trying to make money out of the fan following. All kinds of things today depend on data, but the fact also is that coaches, the players, and various people in this cycle, they are not statisticians. They are not people who understand data as such. That is point number one. Point two is that there are disparate sources of data which you are collecting, from where you are collecting the data. So if you talk to a coach, he might have, the same thing that you saw, probably the data points that he or she has collected would be very different from the nutritionist who's today trying to tell the player as to what he or she should be eating before the match, how it is going to be, impacting the psychology of the player, or how it is going to be impacting the performance on the D day. So then what do you really do? You need to connect these dots, collect all of this data, and present it to these people in a manner that they can consume that. Now, that consumption is what visualization really does. So, you need to have tools, you need to have a platform which can collect the data from disparate sources and then put it and give you a good visualization and also insights into that game. So, it is not just about visualization, it is also about insights. Today, there are tools available. I work for Tableau. For example, Tableau does give you, insights into the data. It just doesn't say that this is the visual thing. It will give you insight and say that, your chances of winning this game are so much percent higher if you would do one, two, three, four, these things. The player, if he goes fourth down, he's going to win the game if he could do this. So those kind of things are provided by analytics tools when we do the visualization out there. It makes it easier for the coaches and for the doctors to provide, the kind of help that they want to provide the players. It makes it easier for commercial people to monetize because there is huge money in sports today. Sports is a big business, and it is very important and key that everybody makes money out there. So that only happens when you have those kind of insights.
So, Ramki, we also do a lot of data-driven stories. Do you want to quickly touch upon that so that Kingshuk can take over from there?
Yeah, I think storytelling, next generation storytelling is, today the consumption patterns of the fans have changed. People want snackable content. And because the Generation Z is, they flip over to the next content if you don't capture their imagination the first 10 seconds. So it's important to have, really contextual content aimed at each of the fan individually. And how we can data can actually change the whole thing. Like, for instance, I will take a recent example where KL Rahul won the man of the match in the recent T20 series against South Africa. And he said, out of gut feel, he said, hey, Suryakumar Yadav played a better game than me, and he deserved the man of the match. That was his gut feel. And we have a true score model which measures the impact of the performance rather than the performance score itself. And we found out that Suryakumar Yadav, like KL Rahul had said, Suryakumar Yadav had a higher impact on the game. He had been more efficient in most number of balls, and he's been pushing up the momentum swing of the team. So the commentators today decide the man of the match, which is again subjective and qualitative. So today, either the fans should nominate the man of the match, or you should be derived in a very quantitative manner. So that's where data again comes into play. And data proved that Suryakumar Yadav has a higher impact on the game. And technically he should have won the man of the match, but it was awarded to KL Rahul. So that's how data changes the perception completely.
So, Kingshuk, from the broadcaster perspective, like what kind of data you will look for creating a different kind of a story that will engage the fans much better?
Uh, Actually, throughout the years, in the recent past, a lot has changed in sports broadcasting. Um, Traditionally, it used to be a satellite feed up from the venue, which is just the audio and a video feed and transported over satellite, one-way communication delivered to a broadcaster. Uh, Now, all of those things have changed. Things have moved over video and IP. Tata is sitting here, pretty much pioneers in getting the video connect. Uh, when we get feeds in the PCR, besides the audio and video, we also get data feeds. All these data feeds are then used to create packages, scores, the nice wagon wheels that you see. All those are a function of all the data that is coming on to us from the venue. I also see a lot more possibility, as you all know. Linear broadcast is giving way to digital. In the days of linear broadcast, all you could see was a screen with all the graphics down below, majorly scores, majorly ball speed, and so on and so forth. But with digital coming in, there are a lot of scope that still remain to be deployed in the market, where all the purists or all the guys who consume content as purists can have much better viewing experience, because all the packages, all the video packages that we run are not human being chosen. These are all data driven stuff. So a lot has been happening on that. A lot of automation is coming on board. In fact, I must also tell you, even the switch that happens, the vision that you guys see, probably very soon, it won't be a person sitting there and doing this. It would be a computer doing that. And that day is not very far.
Uh, Ramki, do you want to add a point on what Kingshuk last said on the it will not be the human which will decide?
Ultimately, the human brain will decide, but it will be augmented by technology and data. Today, if you look at it, there are 36 cameras in a typical production, and the cameras have increased from 12 to 36, and it's only going to increase. So the kind of data going to flow in, and there is a director there who's deciding which camera feed should go on air. So he's a kind of a nervous wreck out there, handling 36 cameras in that split second, but he's doing a phenomenal job out there who's doing it. But how can he have a futuristic a decision support system for the director to choose the right camera angle? The AI can come in there, choose the right camera automatically. So those are all the different possibilities which can be unlocked.
Thanks, Ramki. Joshi, can you enlighten us that how the sports body should move from YouTube and create their own OTT channels, sporting bodies primarily?
Sure. So it all started with a black and white cinema, and then followed by color cinema, evolution of TV channels, then digitization, and now we have come too far. We are consuming content over OTT. So when we say OTT, it's over the top content where we watch what we want to watch. And it started back in 2012-13 when we started using Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now it's in our blood. I mean, we want to watch what we want to watch. I mean, it's not like linear TV. Like, we are pushing content to the consumer right now. So the OTT platforms we are pushing, there are multiple advantages of that. I mean, we are producing multi-layer data now. We have all the data points for the customer, for the user who's watching the content, and viewers are in driving seat now. So we just don't want to satisfy the user. We want to just create a wow factor. I mean, there should be a delight feeling for the user, because there are multiple OTT platforms available in the market. So for that, we have multiple data pointers, and using machine learning models, we are creating smart engines like recommendation engines, like pushing the content we think that this user want to watch. So this kind of content can be curated using machines, of course, with the help of human intervention, because these machine learning models are not 100% accurate. But of course, human brains will be required there. So probably coming from YouTube, I mean, YouTube was one of the first OTT, I would say, where we started pushing our content, pushing our live content, and but there was a sudden surge after the pandemic that the consumption and viewership has increased. And the like 2020 Olympic, I think 60 billion videos were watched uh, over the OTT platforms. So the point here is, I mean, when we are pushing some content on YouTube, when we are trying to monetize it, we are just getting the inventory of our video player, just video. But when we have OTT, we have the full inventory. We have access to display ads. We have access to banner ads. We have multiple data points. We have access to in-depth analytics of the users, in-depth analytics of the videos. So we have ample of opportunities for the monetization, and we have seen that it has surged to multiple folds for the consumers, for the publishers, everyone. It's a win-win for everyone. So yes, the industry is moving to OTT, and definitely there are new advancements coming up. There are VR glasses coming up by Geo or other companies as well. So we will see multiple new things coming up, that how people are consuming the content. There are IoT devices coming up with different technologies. But yes, right now, I mean, OTT is a boom, and every publisher is going to it.
What I would suggest is we'll take some questions from the audience, and then we will have one more round of. So um,
Hello, Sahil here from Tata Communications. We discussed about a lot of data points being captured around the game. I want to know, because today everything is getting monetized. So what's on screen has to be either branded, and we have seen a lot of jersey. Every part of jersey gets branded, especially in cricket when there's a big stadium and there are a lot of places to advertise. How is data analytics helping in monetization of all the pieces? I mean, side screen is there are boards where people like Pepsi or like whatever advertising can come. How is that getting monetized into impressions? Do you have certain thoughts on that?
I
Then
I would add here, I mean, you said it right. There are multiple opportunities after digitization has come. So, in terms of OTTs and everything, we have seen multiple new technologies coming up. So, watch together is one of them. So, we are watching the content, watching a cricket match together while using our cameras, and maybe we can use commerce there. I mean, if we want to watch, buy that jersey, we want to buy some bats or any accessories from there, we should be able to watch, I mean, just add to cart and buy it from any other cart. So there are multiple opportunities we can create. Of course, I mean, we have experimented it with our customers in the past, that while running a movie, if I like a t-shirt of maybe Shah Rukh Khan or Salman Khan, and you can just click on that and you can buy it. So similar patterns, there are ample of opportunities when you are in digital, right?
thank you, Diva.
So I like to add on that, answering to your question, let's say, take the example of Virat Kohli. Okay, when he's playing a game, his strength is cover drive, right? So he's going to score majority of his boundaries and covers. So when he comes on to play and the ads around the cover boundary can be changed dynamically to the ones which are the brands which Virat is representing, or the brands which are paying a premium price because they get more exposures towards it. So that way, data can really help in monetizing the assets differently.
Also, you can do programmatic ads in stadium, which is currently not happening. You can do that also. As Ramki said, when Virat comes, like whatever brand he is endorsing, it can be displayed there. The other thing is, like there are data-driven contests, which is called play along game. So when when the match is happening, either you are in a stadium or in front of the television, you can parallelly start playing that game, and the winners can be benefited by whatever the brand wants to do.
The new fans are multitasking, right? When they are watching the game, they're either blogging or posting a tweet and others. So how do you engage them on the second screen, and how do you have a play along game which increases the stickiness, at the same time giving more opportunities for e-commerce to happen because you're increasing the dwell time on the app.
Also, there is an interesting study done by Deloitte where the fans wants to be engaged all through the year, not just only during the match days. But currently, none of the brands are engaging the fans all through the year.
I think you need a 365 connect, right? Because the brands are spending. If you take the IPL franchises, they're spending a lot of money, and during the IPL season, they take it from 0 to 8 or something like that. They spend a lot of money, but after the tournament is over, they just drop it, right? So again, from next year, they'll have to start from 0 again. So how do you build a 365 connect, and ultimately you're building a community? So how can you build a fan following and take them from being a casual fan to a fanatic? That journey, that can be driven with a lot more analytics, and it can be more contextual. How do you profile the fan? How do you serve contextual content through the right channel? Somebody may be consuming it on Twitter, somebody may be consuming it on Facebook, somebody may be consuming in Instagram. So how do you change the content accordingly and to each of the channels, and as I said, attract the attention of the fans in the first 10 seconds?
I have a question for Kingshuk here. Kingshuk, just want to know now, post the Sony Z merger, once it's finalized, how do you see the evolving landscape in terms of Sony Z as a merged entity bidding for the digital rights? As we saw that digital rights are fetching more for the IPL as Viacom got it this year.
I'm actually Manoj. I'm actually sorry that I will not be able to speak on that front. But having said that, Sony has been in the sports business for last quite a few years, and we're quite serious about the whole business. The amount of innovations that we've got into this industry is unparalleled. We were the first guys to do remote productions of international ODI on the India-Australia series back in 2018. Besides that, there are a lot of innovations which are, going in as we speak. I can tell you, the customers or the viewers watching the game or watching the sport at home now, probably on their smarter devices than only on a linear TV. They can expect a much better, much more immersive experience as we go along, and it will be something exciting to see what comes ahead. I will be able to divulge too much of information, but all I can tell you it is going to be much more inclusive, immersive, and much more grander than ever before.
Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, Ganesh.
I presume there is no more questions. Ramki, the data-driven journalism is evolving in a big time, where the sports journalists will be looking for data. And in sports, historical data is everything. I mean, without historical data, nobody can write any story. Do you want to throw some light on that?
I think, as I said, the consumption patterns of the fans have changed. Nobody wants to read the long editorials, flowery English. people don't have the time for it. They just pass on to the next destination, right? And in digital, the loyalty is very, very less. So unless you keep them engaged with very good engaging content, they're going to go to the next destination. So how do you provide these stories in a data driven way, which is contextual, and how do you keep them engaged? Because if you acquire the fans and then you need to engage with them to be able to be to monetize the fans. So acquire, engage, monetize, influence, that cycle. So you have to go through the cycle, and acquiring them and not losing them is very, very important. So how do you engage them? And as I said, that becomes the 365 connect becomes very, very important, because you need to keep them to your app or to your destination. And then you can think about monetization. A lot of opportunities open up around the way. And journalism has become more, catering to the need of the market. It's become more data driven. It's become more and more. The journalists are becoming, the next generation journalism is started to come. People are making use of data more and more as a reference, and writing it and capturing the imagination of the fan. And I think over a period of time, still there is a lot of journalism which is being done in a very subjective and not a well-informed manner. But today you have as I said, you have to unlock the new possibilities in every aspect of the sporting ecosystem. We can reimagine the way it's being done. Like for instance, we thought that a scorecard was a good measure when Test cricket or ODI was invented. But we have T20, T10, 100-ball cricket. All these are new phenomena. So how do we have new performance matrices, and how do we measure performance in a very different way? And that again can be a very, very interesting content for the fans. Having said that, you don't want to make it too data driven also, because I heard, I don't know, probably King Shukman throw more light on it. 70% of the Indian fans, India cricket is a religion, but 70% of the fans do not know where a third man or a fine leg is. So we have to be careful in having different dosages for different kind of fans. You have the data driven fans, you have the people who just want to enjoy the game. There's pure cricket and enjoying it. You don't want them to squeeze their brains. Then you have the next generation, which are multitasking, so they want to do multiple things. So provide each one their own and make them experience the sport very differently. Like he said, digital provides you with a way to serve the sport in a very unconditional manner. Today, a broadcaster decides what you're going to watch, when you're going to watch, how you're going to watch. Whereas on the digital, you give the control to the fan. The fan can decide what he wants to watch, when he wants to watch, and how he wants to watch. And the future. Today, I think the fan goes in search of information. We thought that we should reverse that, saying the information should chase the fan. So it's more of a push rather than a pull. So there is a delicate balance around that, how we can get it done. At the same time, unlocking the new possibilities, and one can lead to the other. So this is how it spreads out.
So, Anjali, how do you think these journalists will start visualizing their data, and how can the visualization tool help these journalists?
Interesting question, I would say. How will journalists visualize the data? One, of course, is, as Ramki said, it's very key that we look at the historical data, pull out all the historical data, and we start using the data that you get, and then create those maps and visualizations which you can use. But I might want to draw your attention even before the journalists go on to using this data, where all data can be used into sports today. It starts right from when you have to, for any game, whether it is football or cricket, though we are a cricket loving nation, but whether it is kabaddi, it starts right from scouting for the right kind of a player. That's where the data is needed. Goes on to the player fitness, goes on to the player development, goes on to the merchandising, goes on to the game day strategy. All of these things are taken care by the data, and this is where data really helps. And I was, when I was coming here today from Delhi in the morning, I was reading a story which was around IIT Madras. They joined hands with one of the local analytics body in Bellary from Karnataka, and they have developed something called as a boxer analysis. They're developing a tool for Olympics in 2024. How can India get more medals? Okay, and there they are using not just the power of the data visualization, we are using the IoT, the broadband, of course, and the data. So what they're doing is they're saying that we're going to be the players would be wearing the gloves which can measure the punch, the power of the punch. You have IoT and wireless enabled insoles in the shoes, which can measure, when you go and fight in the ring, the impact it produces. So and all of these things put together is the huge amount of data now which is going to get produced. And this is where it becomes very, very interesting, not just for the journalist, I would say, but for all the coaches, for the players, because even before 2024, which is 2 years ahead, we have now started seeing who are the players who we are going to be sending there, what are the improvements they need, what kind of technology we need with our equipment so that the players can, play well, what kind of nutrition we should be giving to these players so that, the impact is wholesome. Because earlier when we used to look at data, the nutritionist would get one kind of data, somebody else would get another kind of data, but together we did not saw the connection these datas had. So today, when you see that, I fed this thing to the player, and tomorrow the outcome was like this, you start putting the analogies and you start making connections there. So that is something which is making it very, very interesting. But coming back to your question as to how can journalists use this data or how do they visualize? I think journalists are not statisticians, again, as coaches are not. So it is up to people in analytics industries to provide tools which are better than Excel's. Till now, we've been using Excel sheets. If we can have easy to use tools which can help them to drag and drop and create those visual maps which can help them to immediately see the various correlations, that is something which is going to really help this industry.
And just to add there to what Anjali is saying, there is an explosion of data happening around the athlete. So you need an agency to put together all these data and translate that into a language which can be absorbed by the different stakeholders. The data itself, they don't know that the data is being generated. And when she was talking about Olympics, I'll share a case study. We worked with, I didn't know anything about high jump. And we went to Sports Authority of India and said, okay, we want to work with somebody who's not expected to be qualified for Olympics, but on the fringe level. And they gave us the name of Sahana Kumari. She was not expected to qualify for Olympics. This was the London Olympics in 2012. And so we worked with her at NIS Patiala. We shot about 300 jumps of hers. And within that, we were able to establish a pattern that every time she was hitting the bar, her takeoff point was very close to the bar. So we brought this to the notice of the coach and the athlete. They were not aware because they were doing with the naked eye. So they didn't know that they were doing that. So within a month, she remodeled and she qualified for Olympics. So just with the handicam, we were able to bring about that effect. I mean, that's one of my biggest milestones in my career where I enabled an athlete to qualify for Olympics just with the handicam. And now with the sensors and IoT stuff, there is a whole lot of things which can accelerate your development life cycle, and you can build medals on your own. And I think India has a great chance of being a global powerhouse in sports analytics. In business analytics, we are already the poster boys, right? So how do we get into sports? We may not be winning medals on our own in the short run in Olympics, but I'm sure that our analytics can power all the winners in their journey.
So, Kingshuk, if you have to do some data-driven stories which are more video-specific, what kind of stuff that you will look at, and how would you create short stories, like what Ramki said, snackable content?
As Ramki already mentioned, that with the digital advent, the viewers can watch a lot more content which is for them rather than what the broadcasters want to show on a linear feed, right? So when we work with a lot of companies who are providing us with technologies. In fact, Sony ourselves are working on a technology where all the data, the ground data that comes to us, besides all the tools available right now, even the packages that go out for a game. May not be for the only the best sixes, best fours, or best wickets. It could be bantered around, which is driven by the data which has come from the venue. Probably the cameras haven't seen it, the main cameras haven't seen it. We do make packages which do not come on the linear feed, but we do get unilateral feeds as well. We use those data to make packages out of the unilateral feed, which never goes out to the viewer, but packages are made out of it. And we've seen the traction on those packages are pretty high, which gives us another reason to believe that only a world feed coming in traditionally from the venue is not quite it for the viewers consuming that data. And even the videos that we put up now are moreover all AI running in that data, and checking out all the shots that probably all the viewers want to see. We will see more data driven packages as we go along, because the technology is just about getting deployed at every television station. And as we move along, I think the quality of packages that you see, packages when I mean, it's besides the main broadcast of the show or the game, you have a lot of packages that come both on YouTube and on the OTT package. These are all a function of all the data that comes along from the ground. These are not decisions made by the editor or the producer sitting at the desk.
Thanks, Kingshuk. So, if there is any more questions, we would answer. Otherwise, we can wind up this.
Um, so I have a question regarding these fantasy cricket apps. Do you think like they play some role in from the fan side in the data collection, data analysis during the matches?
The question for me?
Ramki, I'll start and then you can continue. See, normally what happens is whenever there is somebody who's playing a fantasy game, they go and do a lot of research in the newspaper sites or the news sites, especially the sports news and all those things.
Who are going to be the winners for in the probable 11 they are going to choose. Everything is driven by data today. So the importance of data becomes more and more when we come to fantasy, and the chance of winning increases for them.
I have a question regarding the broadcasting. So I am very happy with that, integrating AI and all things. So I have a question every time talking about sound is coming with the last. So coming to saying that it's immersive. So when we can expect the sound could be an immersive, because talking about a lot of camera we are discussing, but how we can say it fully integrated, when we can expect that.
Immersive is a pretty wide word. Immersive can be visually, acoustically. It can be the feeling. It can be also, in many ways, it can be how you're consuming that final feed that is coming to you. When I say immersive, it means when you're a purist and you're watching a game, say a football game, and you want to go beyond the score that was scored by probably a big footballer. You want to see similarities between all the goals. You can go back and you can do all the analysis that a purist would want to do. I think with data coming in, all of these will be, provided to the end user, probably behind a paywall, or before the paywall, I don't know about that. But all those will be made available, and I'm sure viewers would have a much better experience than they have today on a linear broadcast.
So, Ganesh, if you have any concluding remarks, we can.
The only concluding remark I want to make is, like when Ramki was traveling with the Indian cricket team, when John Wright was the coach, Ramki was known as John Left because he always sits on the left-hand side of John Wright. So the cricket team calls him famously as John Left. So I think that will be the better concluding. Thanks, Anjali. Thanks, Ramki. Thanks, Deepak. Thanks, Kingshuk. And thanks, Manoj.